right. And then lose at both of them.
Yeah, lose both wars. By the way, you know what that reminded me of to read that was bum fights. Do you remember bum fights?
I do remember bum fights.
Wild as shit. They would just pay those guys in Vegas to slug it out.
Yeah.
And I remember how fucked up they got really lit up online. They got criticized, but their whole thing was all these homeless dudes were like, it's fucking great. They're giving us money. They're feeding us, giving us a place to live. We're loving it. The juxtaposition was they were doing more for homeless than the city would ever fucking do. That was the irony. It was so fucked up to publicize these fights and to profit from it, but they were paying these guys and giving them, they were like, oh, they're willing to fucking scrap it out on the streets. And then it became...
Well, they also paid a guy to pull his own tooth out with a fucking pair of pliers.
It was an old tooth. It was fucked up. It needed to come out.
Are you sure?
No, but you know, we'll stick by that. I don't fucking know. That video was wild.
The craziest shit was felony fights.
What is this?
Felony? It's a cigar. Felony fights.
But weed in it or no?
What do you think?
Well, because otherwise I'm not going to inhale if it's not. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Felony fights. Do you remember felony fights? You ever see those? They were the worst. They would pay guys to have a fucking fist fight to the death in a fucking orange orchard.
What?
Oh my God, it was
I've
horrible.
never heard of this shit.
This one guy beats the fuck out of this other guy. One guy who knows how, this Mexican kid who knows how to fight, fights this white kid who definitely doesn't know how to fight. They both just got out of jail.
That's the title.
And they talk about where they went to jail and what they were in for, and then they fight. And the Mexican dude catches this dude with a punch, knocks him out, and then the guy goes down. And as he goes down, the guy starts kicking him in the head, and then he just drops giant knees on his face.
Oh, bro.
While he's unconscious. They don't stop the fight at all. And the dude's out cold, just getting blasted in the head, and he starts snoring like, it's... Why are you laughing?
because I saw it in my head, the cartoon image of a guy like,
bro, it's so rough.
Terrible.
And as a guy who's seen a disproportionate amount of people get fucked up.
Right.
Like if you wanted to go throughout human history and say how many people have you seen get knocked the fuck out? How many people have you seen get blasted unconscious? I am in the 1/100th of 1% of all the people that have ever lived.
You've seen the most.
There's a few other people like me, like Mike Goldberg and John Anik and DC and
right.
And
but I'm saying your core group of guys.
I have seen more people get knocked the fuck out than almost anybody that's ever lived.
You guys' reaction, you and Anik's reaction was hilarious, by the way.
Dude, I never stopped loving it, man. I never stopped loving that sport. When someone rises, like Thug Rose or Kamaru Usman or when someone rises to the occasion, I will never stop loving it. I've been doing this shit for so long, and I can't help myself.
I will say, when we were on tour and we would go do a show and then UFC the next night, I will be genuine. Like, watching you as a friend, watching what you would do, the way you would act the day of the fight was very interesting to see from an inside outside. Like, I'm inside because we're friends, but I'm outside because I'm still a spectator and I'm watching the sport and loving it. The excitement you had day of is similar to how it felt when we were doing shows. Like, you were still, it wasn't like a job. It doesn't feel like a job, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, it's not a job like I'm doing it because I need a check.
Because a lot of guys do, man.
Yeah, no, it's not.
A lot of guys, it's like, I'm fucking going along with the thing.
No, I don't have to work there anymore if I don't want to.
No shit.
What I mean? It's like the idea is it's when I do it, like, no bullshit, I realize that these fucking people have poured their life into this. The last 6, 8, 12 weeks, whatever the camp's been, and then all their years of training, their whole life of training. That's their moment, man. I want to honor it. I want to make it more exciting for people at home.
Well, the respect is just heavy, and it gained a respect for me because, look, before we became friends, I liked the sport. I just never knew enough about it or never really got into it. I was like, no, I like it, but I didn't know much about it.
Well, you've seen it live, though.
Well, I've seen it behind your shoulder, which is fucking insane. You know how many people are like, want to kill me for those seats? I mean, they fucking slit my throat to be there. I've seen it over your shoulder. For listening to you call it right there behind, it's a special thing.
Did you ever see the video where there's a fight going on? It was Nate Marquardt. I forget who he's fighting, but he's fighting, and in the middle of his fighting, when the camera turned to them, Ari and Duncan, because they were behind me, so they had the monitors. So I have monitors, right?
Yeah.
And the monitors in front of me show them what's on television, and they started making out.
Yeah.
So in the middle of it, look, they started full on making out because they know they were on camera.
I fucking love Duncan so much.
That was the same sort of situation. I think it's Brad Tavares. Is that Brad Tavares? Who's Brad fighting? It's Nate Marquardt and Brad Tavares. I think that's who it is. I'm pretty sure it's Brad.
I can't tell.
Wait, I wanted to ask you this. In the Usman fight,
Yes.
when he's down and he keeps clipping him, do you think that should be stopped or that's okay?
The referee has to pull him off.
Because he clipped him a few more times after
It's
he was
super necessary.
for him to hit him a few more times.
It's super necessary.
I'm asking. Look, here's my reasoning.
You don't know what I'm saying. Super necessary is like when Masvidal knocked out Ben Askren. He hit him with a flying knee, and he punched him a bunch of times on the ground. And the reporters asked him, "Is it necessary?
Oh, super
for
necessary.
you to keep punching him like that?" He goes, "Oh, it's super necessary."
Right.
So
Right.
Masvidal, like you reap what you sow, and he, to his credit, Masvidal is a fucking gangster.
Yeah.
To his credit, he got KO'd, and he said, "I'm a big fan of that punch that knocked me out."
Yeah, that's huge.
He said that. He said that. He said he was a big fan of
insane.
Kamaru Usman landing the perfect punch and knocking him out for the first time in his career. Also, when I interviewed him after the fight, which people are like, you said you weren't going to interview people after the fight. I don't even know what's happening. Like when I was in a trance, like everything was so crazy, and you guys are right. Yeah, I did say that I wasn't going to interview people after the fight, but guess what? I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because whether it was Zhang Weili or whether it was Askren or Masvidal getting KO'd like that, like Masvidal had the classiest response I've ever experienced with a guy. Talked so much shit, hyped up a fight, did what he did, fought his heart out, got knocked the fuck out with one punch, and was all class. All class.
But isn't that, do you feel like that's over the years? Don't you feel like a lot of people have turned on that class thing of like, because the fighting is so respected now? Like
at the end, they do.
Isn't Cerrone like that?
Oh, for sure.
But that's my thing. Is like
it's
some
both
of the
things. So Cerrone is like that before fights. He likes to hug people before fights. Donald just loves to fight. He doesn't have to hate you to
I know
fight.
when we walked up and we said hi, you introduced me to him. We were in like Atlanta or some shit. I don't even remember. And I was like, "How you feeling?" He's like, "Good, man. This is the greatest thing I've ever done." I was like, he was so happy, like smiling ear to ear. He was so excited. There was no nerves.
You can't fake being Donald Cerrone.
No,
you can't fake.
He was a real. He's
an
a real ass
American
motherfucker.
original.
Yeah, dude, he's a real motherfucker.
He's an American original. Like he enjoys fighting, win or lose, and he's lost before. Like he had a fight with Anthony Pettis, and it was like a real close fight, and I kind of thought he should have got the nod, and a lot of people did too, but it was real close. And afterwards, he was like, "Hey, you know me, man. I fucking love this shit." Like he really did. He loved it.
He goes back to the farm and just lives his fucking life.
He just loved that he had a great fight. It was a great fight.
Yeah.
Real fucking.
But I guess what I'm saying is like back in the day when there was all this criticism of UFC when people didn't know what they were talking about, the idea was, oh, all these guys are just fucking animals. And now the fighting is so respected. There's so much respect. I feel like every time I hear in interviews, 99% of the guys show love even when they get fucked up. I rarely hear the asshole putting on the show afterwards. It's rare.
There's two different things that go on. Before the fight, there's like sometimes there's a lot of trash talk.
Well, yeah, there's chirping.
That's to hype up the fight.
Sure.
And Conor McGregor is the greatest of all time at that.
100%.
There's no one better.
Conor McGregor.
Chael Sonnen is under-recognized. He's number 2,
yeah,
in my opinion. Because Chael Sonnen, like, he would fight guys and you kind of didn't think he was going to win. But you still were willing. You were willing to. Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck, and the whole audience goes. Yeah. Chael Sonnen brought legit, like top of the food chain pro wrestling antics to real MMA fights, and he made a fuckload of money because of it. And he hyped up some fights, because like if you really, all due respect for Chael Sonnen. All due respect. I think he's a gangster. I mean, he's talking about a man who submitted world champions like Shogun. Chael Sonnen's a bad motherfucker. He is a bad motherfucker. And people who don't think he's a bad motherfucker, watch his fight with Nate Marquardt. When Nate Marquardt was at the top of his game, and Chael Sonnen ragdolled that dude in a wild, crazy, bloody brawl. He got cut open. Like, Chael Sonnen's a bad motherfucker. But very few people thought he was going to beat John Jones, including me. Including me. I was like, okay, he talked a lot of shit. Let's see how long this lasts. John Jones is
a bad
he's a
man.
Bad man. He's not just a bad man. He's maybe the baddest man of all time.
He's fucking would scare the shit out of me.
He's so good. He's so good. He's so good in every way. He's not just so good physically.